All right, so this is our Unit 3, Section 1 test. Make sure you also have your note sheets out. So just so you can see, this is Learning Target 3.1, Properties of Polynomials. You should have this note sheet. So remember, this is one of the most helpful things we're going to use here. We're going to be talking about the degree of a polynomial. So that means you have to put it in standard form, and it's the largest exponent. Next, we have the leading coefficient. A coefficient is a number in front of the variable. So the leading coefficient, when it's in standard form, it's always in your first term. It doesn't mean the biggest number in this whole entire thing. The leading coefficient is the number in the first term, the biggest number. Okay? And meaning not the exponent. And then remember, standard in form is written from greatest to least, so biggest exponent to smallest exponent. If there is no variable in your polynomial, that degree is 0, but any other time, remember, they'll have the number. So this is a great resource to use. We did examples of these. And then if you flip to the back of the note page, we also did even more examples. We'll get to that. The next one we had was the one on the back. We had to move it around. Leading coefficient. We also had biggest exponent. You will want to use these notes. Next, we have adding and subtracting the polynomials, and then also identifying their leading coefficient and degree. When it's a subtraction problem, we talked about you change the minus sign to a plus sign, and then change all the terms after that to the opposite sign. That one is just in the second polynomial. Everything changes to opposite. Okay? So have these notes out handy, and I'm going to walk you through the test. Pause whenever you need. Okay? So, again, this is Learning Target 3.1. That's our notes. Questions 1 and 2, it says write the polynomial in standard form, and then you need to identify, number 1 says the degree. Remember, so degree, look at your note sheet, make sure you're familiar with what finding the degree is. When you put it in standard form, you look at that first term, and there's something specific you look at to find the degree. Number 2 is also related to this one. Again, this should be written in standard form. Maybe you just write it somewhere down here. Just rewrite it down here. And then remember, once it's in standard form, you only have to look at the first term. And then again, the next one wants you to find the leading coefficient. So in standard form, find the leading coefficient. Again, that doesn't just mean the biggest number in this whole entire thing. That's not what leading coefficient means. So please use your notes. Okay? Number 3, this looks like a lot of writing and everything, but you're going to be doing just very simple, either adding or subtracting. But it says if we have this function, this big long one here, and this one G, this one here, when the operation is you add them. So this is what it wants you to do. What's the resulting polynomial? It's going to be in this form. So then after that's done, it wants you to add the number that's attached to the x to the third and the number that's all by itself. It wants you to add those two together at the end. The first thing I want you to do, though, is just add these two. Okay? So you're going to take 2x to the third minus 5x squared plus 3x minus 9, and it wants you to add it to g. So plus, here we go, here's g, x to the third plus 6x squared plus 11. So from here, I want you to combine the like terms. and then simplify, and then find the number that's attached to the x. So you're going to add the number that's in the A spot, and you're going to add the D. If you have questions, I can help you out once this is simplified. Okay, number 4. If the function right here, f of x and g of x, we're going to find minus. It wants you to subtract the two. So remember, when we write this, this is the one, okay, that we are going to, here's our note in our notes packet. When there's subtraction, we change for the second one, whatever one is after the minus sign. We change the minus sign to a plus. We write the first one normally. Then we change the minus sign to a plus, and we change all the terms after it to be the opposite side. It's like distributing a -1. So just remember, we're going to change the minus to a plus. Okay? Then change all terms of, and this one actually after it is the g of x, all terms of the g to opposite sign. Okay, so that means you would write this first one normally, and then you're going to make sure you change this to a plus, and then you're going to do opposite of this and write it, opposite, write it, opposite, write it, opposite, write it. And then you have something like this. And then you will end up combining the like terms. Okay? So there's the little note for you. And then you pick the one that's closest. If you notice going through, you can probably look at the first two and figure it out. Not have to go very much further. Okay? Now you're going to flip the paper over. This is the open response. I want you have 3 things to do on each problem. The first one is to add or subtract the polynomial. That's the first step. Again, remember we change to a plus. And then everything in this second one becomes its opposite. And then you combine like terms. Then I want you to tell me the degree. So you can put over here degree. And I want you to tell me the leading coefficient. And you can put LC and just tell me what it is. Okay? So the subtraction ones are probably harder, but again, follow the steps and it should be okay. And then the same one for here. I know this looks big, but all you're doing, this is an addition problem. You can ignore the parentheses and you can just combine like terms. And then you get your standard form, and then I want you to tell me the degree. And I want you to tell me the leading coefficient. Okay? So again, subtract these and put it in standard form. Just write it out. You might have your things and then you need to simplify. Same with the bottom one. You can add them. Combining like terms, just adding positive and negatives. Standard form, put your final answer. And then remember, we always use the first term to find the degree and least leading coefficient. Okay? So please use your notes, rewind, pause, listen to me say things and do it, and pause as you go, however you need to help yourself, okay? This is a big part of your grade, so take your time. And again, you can always ask questions in person as well once you watch this if you still are confused. Okay, good luck.